Why you shouldn't trust your feelings. This is a loaded topic, and it's one that I've read about dozens of times, right? In all different kinds of books, and some of the great wisdom teaching books and holy books, right? There's all these little references to feelings and thoughts and emotion. And why should I not trust my feelings? Well, some might say I have to trust. Well, what is there to trust if not my feelings, my gut feeling? I have a gut feeling about this. Well, I think it's two different things. I think this statement it's loaded because it could mean something very trustworthy or it could mean something very tricky. And what does that mean? What have I noticed? That's what I'm trying to say to you today. What have I noticed and observed in this life about not trusting your feelings? So I rewind for a moment every time I have these feelings, and I try to observe them objectively, and I try to remember where they're coming from and to whom they're focused towards. And that's the important part of the equation. Who is it that I'm focusing these feelings towards, or is it feelings about myself? And what are these feelings about? I try to look at them and analyze and just observe them as if they were an object, right? As opposed to this ethereal, like air, like I'm trying to observe them as a thing that is, and not even my thing, a thing that's being whispered to me by something. So I look at the mind then, the mind comes up, and the mind says this about that or this person, right? I have a feeling that they're going to do something, mean to me, or, they're not going to be very nice. Or I have a feeling this is going to go this way. I have these feelings, right? And we talk about this a lot, about living in the present moment, not the past, not the future, but the present moment, how difficult that can be in the world where the laser pointer, where the cat sometimes is everywhere. And all of a sudden, feelings come in and these thoughts, and the thoughts have feelings behind them, and the feelings have thoughts behind them. And I don't know the order. They're just together a lot of times. And thought, brings a feeling upon you, and then all of a sudden emotions, and then all of a sudden it could be all kinds of things coming out of those, that formula. So the mind wants to survive. The ego says, let me survive. So I'm going to give you some thoughts about what just happened here based on past experiences. Because based on the past experience, we've survived thus far. We being, right, the body and the mind. Jeff says, we've done this so long that this is the way we've done it. So why change such a thing? Because, man, we're still here. And this is the only show in town, so why would we stop doing this? So these feelings come up because of survival, it seems like. Many times. Sometimes you just know, it's like intuition, right? There's this gut feeling, this idea that it's wisdom, though, it's different. I asked a great teacher this once, at a seminar, and I said, how do you discern the voice versus the voice, right? The naggy voice versus the wisdom, voice. And his answer to me was really simple. You'll know. Okay. Very, very vague, but it's a pointer. It's pointing in the direction of listening to the wisdom within. And the wisdom within says, don't trust every feeling, right? I've had feelings before that were way wrong, like just so far off. And if I just blindly follow every feeling, and I'm overly impulsive with these feelings and emotions, I stand to have a more difficult run at things, or at least for me. Okay, a lot of people are driven by their feelings, and it may be working out, and maybe on a string of feeling following that's working, and maybe that'll work forever for you, and that would be wonderful. At least based on the teachings that I've understood, it's just about understanding not trusting the feelings of what and who, right? Or what is it that I'm not trusting? It's a really tricky question again, because we're talking about two very different things. This is little self, right? This idea, the Jeff story, and the other self, the true self, is giving the guidance. The little self's trying to survive and just trying to be part of the human race, and trying to be part of the game, and trying to maintain a social status, and trying to maintain family dynamics and work dynamics, and all this is happening. All these feelings come up because I need to have a feeling that my boss is, and it's just a tricky thing to talk about. So what do I do when I get confused? I still get confused about this because there is no hard line between, not trusting your feelings is a loaded statement. So I am not endorsing that entirely. I'm just saying from my life experience here, where I'm coming to you from, I don't always trust them. Or at least I question them and observe them before I go impulsively acting on them. It's just about slowing down and putting a barrier between you and the impulsive action that is just following the feeling. And sometimes you have to follow your feelings and have to follow the intuition, have to follow this invisible gravitational pull towards something. It's just good luck trying to avoid that, right? The programming that we have in us, the way the mind works, is that you will sometimes follow the thing is not going to work out for you, or to keep doing the thing that makes no sense. Why am I doing this? I know it better, and yet you go back into it, and you're observing it, and you're doing all the things you can do, and all of a sudden I'm still following my feelings and these impulses and these programs, so to speak. So all of this being said, what can you do every time a feeling comes up? How do you discern this? What do I do? What do I try to do? I don't do it every time. I try to do it sometimes, and I want to do it more. What do? I stop and I breathe, or I just stop and I wait and I hold this for a moment, right? As if it's an object. I look at it like I'm turning around like an object I can hold, and saying, "What does it make sense?" Sometimes you have no time to do that, and then you have to just go with what comes out, which is fine. It's just living in the moment in many cases. But if you have the time and you have the space and you can observe it, that's a great way to know whether I should trust my feelings or not trust my feeling, this particular feeling. And that's what I was taught by a lot of these great teachers. And I think it's more of a feel thing. It's ironic that feelings, right, trusting or not, is a feel thing. It's like a very personalized thing that you're learning to feel right within your being. It's really interesting. So I hope that helps. And it was wonderful seeing you all again today. And thank you, as always.